Graduate Center, joining us from New York. It's good to have you with us. Let's first start with what President Hadi had to say, and he's urging Yemenis to unite against the Houthi rebels, describing them as Iranian militias. Up until this point, the war in Yemen has not taken a religious tone. Could this be a turning point where it will turn more sectarian?
I don't think so. I don't think this is going to make it turn more sectarian, for example. One of the few things that Yemenis disagree or agree on is that Hadi is not very popular. So his words are not going to do anything to unite the people, in my sense.
So what does it mean for Yemen then over the next few days specifically, now that Saleh has been killed?
Well, it bears mentioning first that the media infrastructure in the capital and in the entire country is quite fractured. And so the information we're getting out is sometimes very contradictory, and it's hard to know exactly what's going on. We do know and would expect to see the Houthis moving to consolidate their power. And the Houthis couldn't have been taken completely by surprise by Saleh's move. It's not the first clash between them, and it was always a marriage of convenience. And so we have to assume that they had been outreaching to other groups to sort of have a sense of who their allies would be in the events that Saleh flipped on them, which is completely, in his character to have done so. So I think they're going to see increased violence, unfortunately, in the capital city. I'm very fearful that because of this betrayal, what's perceived by the Houthis as a very extreme betrayal by Saleh, that you'll see a lot of revenge killings going on. I think the call for a pause to evacuate civilians is absolutely essential, but I'm not sure that we're going to see that. But I think we'll see an escalation of violence, at least in the short term, and I don't see this being a positive thing for Yemen in the medium term either.
What is likely to happen to Saleh's supporters and his forces? Who do they rally behind now? And also, what does this mean for his party, the General People's Congress? What are its options?
Well, this is, again, one of the big questions we have. In some ways, it's the million-dollar question, which is there someone now in the north, not someone outside, not his son who might be brought in, but is there anyone in the north now that could actually bring Saleh's forces together and provide some kind of leadership? We don't have reason to believe that he had extensive militias supporting him. He certainly did have some, but the Houthis seem to have had much more militia strength. And so the Houthis aren't going to be weakened in this regard. But then the Saleh factions, without Saleh as a leader, and the very large number of bureaucrats that really wanted to move in and take control of the government, we don't know who they're going to rally behind. If there's someone in the north or if they're looking for someone else to come in, perhaps Ali Abdullah's eldest son, Ahmed Ali, perhaps not. But we really don't know who that person would be that could pull those people together. For the GPC, it has been a divided party since the war broke out, with a portion following Saleh in Sana'a, and another fraction that is under Hadi's control, but primarily that leadership is based in Riyadh. So one possibility would be see a reunification of the GPC with the Saleh forces moving back to to back Hadi against the Houthis, because there never was, affection for the Saleh forces towards the Houthis. But another possibility is that, the Saleh forces, who feel very betrayed by Ali Muhsin, General Ali Muhsin, who betrayed Saleh in the midst of the uprising, they might not have any stomach for moving back into that camp.
Speaking of Riyadh, the leader of the Houthi rebels who spoke earlier, he said that today is the day that Saleh was killed. He described it as the fall of the conspiracy of betrayal and treason. He also said it's a dark day for the forces of the coalition. So what does this mean for the Saudi-led coalition's war on Yemen? Is it going to intensify?
It's hard to see it intensifying more. I don't think it's going to let up, but it's been pretty intensive. Taiz is in a state of absolute siege. The country is very fragmented. Your report at the outset made a really important point in that this has never been simply a two-sided war. You have these multiple factions, southern secessionists who themselves are not united and do not support Hadi, Al-Qaeda, tiny bits of Islamic State. But in the north even, the northern tribes are not consistently united, and we have no expectation that they should be. And within the coalition, we've seen in recent months tensions and disagreements between first the ouster of Qatar from the Gulf Cooperation Council leaves that body's strength and role in question. And the UAE have their own troops on the ground, boots on the ground in the south, not necessarily completely in sync with the Saudi objectives. So I think I don't think we're going to see strengthened campaign, but I don't think we'll see a lessened campaign.
All right, Jillian Schwedler, we thank you for talking to us from New York.